On the eve of the CCP's fourth plenum, China has effectively frozen. In Guangxi, vocational students rushed out of classrooms at midnight to strike. Central State-owned enterprise, SOE, employees were ordered to hand in their passports and all overseas travel was halted. Petitioners in Shanghai were confined at home as black jails reappeared. Even the e-commerce Double 11 shopping festival is eerily cold, streamers exhausted, malls empty, consumer confidence collapsing. From phones to passports, from campuses to Zhongnanhai, this low-pressure lockdown is quietly spreading nationwide. No one has declared martial law, yet everything is being locked down. Who is afraid, and of what? Don't miss the next drop, subscribe and enable the bell. China, something big has happened. On one side, thousands of students at a Guangxi school collectively went on strike and gathered on the athletic field in protest. On another, staff inside the system had their passports collected en masse and overseas travel was fully suspended. In Shanghai, petitioners were trapped at home, cut off from food and medicine. Black jails are back. At the same time, the Double 11 e-commerce festival is unusually quiet, streamers have gone silent, and despite official claims of $50 billion in subsidies, almost no buzz has been stirred. From campuses to Zhongnanhai, from live stream rooms to black jails, China is entering a strange low-pressure state. All of this is happening at the same moment, right before the CCP convenes the fourth plenum. The campus blows up. A strike wave in Guangxi. Have you heard? At a vocational secondary school in Yulin, Guangxi, thousands of students went on strike because the school banned free use of mobile phones. On the night of October 16, the campus of Yulin No. 1 vocational secondary school suddenly became lively, not for a party or event, but because thousands of students walked out of classrooms and gathered on the athletic field and in the corridors, chanting slogans in direct protest. Why would so many risk consequences to strike? A few days earlier the school abruptly issued a student mobile phone management system, stipulating that students could use their phones only during 3 fixed hours per day. At all other times, phones had to be turned in for centralized storage by the school. It sounds like it's for learning, right? The problem is the rule was issued 2 months after students had already enrolled, nothing about it was mentioned during recruitment, and now it's too late to transfer. Students exploded. One said, "We're at a vocational school, not a regular high school, this control is way too much." Others worry that if the school collected phones, who would be responsible if they were lost or damaged? And beyond socializing, phones are now essential for study and daily life. More shocking, that night, a teacher reportedly took a fire extinguisher to the scene to try to disperse students, and the atmosphere grew very tense. Although the school has not responded yet, students said they won't back down and will continue to protest until the policy is withdrawn. In some U.S. states, schools also control phone use, but in subtler ways, for example, Yandra pouches. Students lock their phones in special pouches at the entrance, keep them on their person, and unlock them after school. It both curbs use and protects privacy and property. This approach might be a better reference point. What do you think? Is this phone policy proper guidance, or overreach? Leave a comment. Passports seized. Escalating lockdown inside the system. Students are striking over phone controls. Inside the system, another kind of lockdown is unfolding. This time, it's about passports. Recently, numerous central SOEs and financial institutions suddenly tightened control over staff travel abroad. This isn't a single unit's decision but a quietly coordinated, system-wide action, from finance and energy to transport and tech, from annual limits to total suspension. Multiple signals show authorities are advancing an upgraded surveillance regime for insiders under the banner of risk control. All overseas plans, suspended. Here's how it began. Right after the Golden Week holiday, Mr. Ma, who works at a central SOE in Beijing, was told by his supervisor to turn in his passport immediately. Not just him, his entire department, even ordinary staff, were ordered to hand over passports for centralized HR storage. All overseas approvals are frozen. He said, "We just got back from abroad and before we could catch our breath they told us to surrender passports. I guess the higher-ups fear capital flight or information leaks." Not an isolated case. Multiple SOE insiders revealed that since early October various central and local SOEs received oral instructions to suspend all overseas approvals, regardless of visas issued or fixed itineraries. All departures paused. The first to be locked down were personnel in external-facing, energy, and financial units, labeled high-risk groups. Even before the holiday, insiders said banks and insurers had orally required that division chief level and above generally apply to go abroad only once per year, subject to step-by-step approval. No public red letter document has appeared. After Golden Week, the policy extended to some SOEs and local state firms generally. Some employees said their companies flatly ordered, "Hand in your passports." The notice hasn't been officially issued yet, but you'd better act as if it has, ostensibly to prevent a management gap before the policy drops. Anyone familiar with the system understands, even before the top-level red letter arrives, lower levels pre-execute, carefully syncing up, better to act early than let something slip. Tellingly, these exit limits arrive just before the fourth plenum. Many inside the system sensed tension in the air. Several insiders described it this way: the mood is tight. Senior officials are staying put. Many things you used to be able to say you now don't dare say. Policy process observer Cheng Weiman, alias, analyzed, this temporary halt to overseas travel likely extends the logic of risk control. In recent years, Beijing has been especially focused on the outflow of state assets and personnel. Going abroad is no longer seen as a personal itinerary but folded into the realm of political security. Thus, this overseas freeze is a deeper signal. Under risk prevention, the center is fully grasping personnel movements inside the system. In other words, it used to be about anti-flight and anti-corruption, now it's about political loyalty, information security, and control. Will this become normal? Is it a short-term response to a sensitive moment, or the sign of structural tightening? No one knows. But one thing is certain, on the eve of the fourth plenum, this quiet passport collection campaign has caused no small shock inside the system. Black jails reappear. Petitioners disappear in advance. If no overseas travel is still a hidden control, what's happening to petitioners in Shanghai pushes stability maintenance into a darker zone. As the plenum approaches, Shanghai's stability maintenance has upgraded again. One ordinary petitioner narrowly avoided being sent to a black jail and has already been cut off from food and medicine. Another rights defender has already been detained in a black jail. Yu Zhonghuan, a petitioner in his 70s who has fought forced demolition for 30-plus years, discovered early on October 16 that several groups of strangers wearing security uniforms had appeared outside his door, speaking in a sinister tone and claiming they would take him to rise up, a code for black jail. He immediately asked for help in a WeChat group and nearby petitioners came to support. He said petitioners taken to black jails and locked in basements have died under suspicious circumstances. He is very worried and has been refusing to go with them. One man couldn't resist, but 14 petitioners arrived. They split into two groups, one called the police, one guarded Yu's doorway. After the call, the police arrived. Petitioners documented the illegal harassment and arrests. Eventually, both sides agreed that half would go to the station to meet the chief while the other half guarded Yu's door. Community workers claimed those security guards were not called by the community. Police later said the guards had left. But when the petitioners returned to Yu's door, the guards were still there. So they called the police again and went back to the station. From morning till after 10 p.m. this went on. When most petitioners and police finally left, four guards stayed posted at Yu's door. Yu remains confined at home, cut off from medicine and food for days. Even more shocking, simply visiting him has triggered missing-style repression. Shanghai rights defender, retired university teacher Gu Guoping, and another petitioner, Lu Jieme, insisted on visiting Yu on October 15. The next day, Gu was taken to a black jail on Chongming Island. Police reportedly told him, "We weren't going to lock you up, but because you visited Yu yesterday." Gu says they fear exposure and foreign media attention. After the Epoch Times reported Yu's confinement an international concern, authorities panicked, afraid the White House might pressure them, so they moved to detain him. As Gu put it, "If you're at home, you keep your phone and can still expose things. Once in a black jail, your phone is confiscated and the world can't hear you." This is not the first time. Around every sensitive date, rights violations under the banner of stability maintenance arrive on schedule. Another Shanghai petitioner, Lu Dongbao, was taken 3 months ago and remains missing with no information. Who has the power to decide these people should disappear? Who orchestrates these silent purges? This is the real human rights picture in parts of China on the eve of the fourth plenum. Stability maintenance funding is running dry, methods are changing. You might not expect it, but even stability maintenance is running low on money, and the methods are quietly changing. As the plenum nears, in past years, sensitive people would be invited to drink tea or sen on forced trips, put up in hotels, kept away from home, communications cut. This year is different. Many receive the same message: there's no money. No travel this year. Just stay at home under control. From Beijing and Chengdu to Guizhou and Shanghai, more dissidents, scholars, and petitioners are under home control. No going out, no going online, with watchers posted at their doors. Mr. Wu in Beijing was blunt. Figures like Gao Yu, Cha Jiangwo, Pu Jiqiang, and Zhang Baocheng are all on posts, watched at home and not sent away this time. Another independent scholar, Ms. Zhang, said police came to warn her not to post on Twitter because Zhao Ziyang's birthday is coming. She retorted, "I have freedom of speech. Who gave you the right to stop me from going online?" Same in Chengdu. A local petitioner surnamed Li said that since October 15 he has been guarded because authorities fear he might go to Beijing or commemorate Zhao Ziyang. In previous years, some might be invited for a meal and hotel. Not now. Chen Yunfei and Tanzuoren, rights activists, were told simply don't run around, report movements. In Guizhou, a member of a human rights study group said this change is due to budget not being approved. Members are confined at home. Some are guarded 24/7, others must upload a daily selfie with location tags. Even doorwatch posts have been cut from 2 guards to 1, labor costs reduced. This isn't a joke. It's a real shift in the CCP's stability maintenance playbook. In places like Beijing's Fengshan and Shanghai, it's more intense. Police come daily to round up petitioners, hauling them by the truckload to reception centers, then intercept teams return them to their hometowns for detention. Mr. Wang in Shanghai said, in past years they might give you money and send you to a farmhouse on Chongming Island to ride out the storm. This year? No money, no trip, just soft detention at home. Why maintain stability? Why put people on posts or into forced travel? The answer is in the change itself. When local finances were flush, they threw money at everything. Now, with the money gone, stability must be optimized. But can cutting costs buy real stability? When even stability maintenance needs austerity, doesn't it show the state is indeed tightening? 11 turns cold, confidence collapses. Remember when 11 was a national carnival? This year feels chilly. Platforms waved the banner for over a month with sky-high subsidies. But with a prolonged slowdown, Alibaba and JD.com stretched the promo to up to 5 weeks. Consumers' enthusiasm hasn't followed. Since late September, Alibaba, JD, and Douyin have been rolling out preheat campaigns, but the scale, streamers, and publicity are nothing like before. Look at the platform's self-rescue tactics. At an October 16 event in Shanghai, Alibaba claimed unprecedented investment for the year's biggest sale, a record 50 billion yuan in subsidies, targeting premium 88 VIP members, and pouring cash into 1-hour instant retail delivery. JD is also aggressive, lowest price of the year for 100,000 SKUs, even 2 yuan shipped thermal shirts, 50,000 units. Douyin also launched promos the same day. Platforms are anxious. The big streamers, however, are collectively quiet. What's going on? In past years, Li Jieqi, Dong Yuwei, Xinba, Luo Yonghao, heavyweight streamers, would be fully booked, pounding the airwaves. This year? Li Jieqi is still live but clearly strained. On stream he vented, "You're really going to force me to retire, new tricks every day, I'm human, not a god." It sounded less like a sales pitch and more like a plea. Dong Yuwei, Luo Yonghao, Xinba, almost no extra special sessions. Even the Make a Friend room did just one 11 event. Overall, this year's 11 feels distinctly muted. No celebrity cavalcades, no non-stop trending topics, no wall-to-wall blitz. Even the preheat videos are scarce. Why? Ultimately, consumer demand has cooled. During Golden Week, foot traffic jumped, but spending hit a 3-year low, directly undermining 11 confidence. Consumers are more cautious. Deng Lei, a 49-year-old meditation studio owner in Beijing, said, "The only thing I want is a comfortable pair of sneakers, and I haven't seen one I really like." Big-ticket items? Analysts expect Q4 home appliance sales could drop 20%. Last year's hits, washers, air fryers, robot vacuums, are all cooling. For brands and platforms, it's no longer how to sell more, but how to make people willing to buy. Jacob Cook put it bluntly, maybe people won't buy appliances, but they might upgrade a phone. In other words, spending exists, but choices and attitudes have shifted. Once, Double 11 was a national joyride, buy it and you've earned it. Now, platforms stretch timelines, streamers are under pressure, and consumers clutch their wallets. The spectacle lingers, but the vibe has changed. Will you buy on Double 11 this year, or just watch? Share your thoughts on the festival's cooldown in the comments.